This is the Boston Commons, biggest part of the Freedom Trail. The Boston Commons was known as a site for puritanical punishments, home to a whipping post, pillory, and stocks. When Puritan colonists bought the land rights to the Boston Commons, the price was £30 and each homeowner paid shillings. A shilling is a former British coin and monetary unit equal to 1/20th of a pound or 12 pence. The pasture then was created to be made as the common land and was used to feed animals. This is the Massachusetts State House. It is well known for being the home of the state senate, for the House of the Representatives, and the governor's office. The State House was built in 1798 by Charles Bulfinch. The cost to build the house was around $133,333. The building was worldwide accepted as one of the most magnificent and well-situated buildings in the country. Its dome influenced the Boston skyline until the event of the skyscraper day. The Massachusetts State House is still the oldest building on Beacon Street.
Look in that tree.
This is the Park Street Church, also known as the original granary, created in 1729. It's most known for its role in social justice and human rights. The granary was the home to the creation of the sails for the USS Constitution, before finally serving as a petting zoo. After the land was purchased in 1809, its timber was moved to the site of Boston Gas Tank, where it was served as ship equipment and a storehouse. Created in 1660, the Granary Burying Ground is the final resting place of some of America's most notable citizens, such as Peter Faneuil, Sam Adams, Crispus Attucks, John Hancock, James Otis, Robert Freeman, Oliver Beard, and members of Ben Franklin's family. Like this. This is where Benjamin Franklin's parents are buried. The Granary Burying Ground is named for the 12,000 bushel grain storage building that was at one point next to the burying grounds. This is the King's Chapel. The King's Chapel was founded in 1686. The King's Chapel was known for being the first Anglican church in New England and Boston's first Anglican church. The King's Chapel is home to over 330 years of history. The granite building still stands in its original spot to this day, which is in the corner of Boston's oldest English burying ground. This is part 2 of the King's Chapel burying ground. This is the final resting place to Mary Chilton and John Winthrop. As you can see, it's very crowded, because that's really all they had back in the days in 1800s. And as you can tell, they're pretty old because of the stones and how they're broken up. But yeah, this is the Benjamin Franklin and Boston Latin School. Founded on April 23rd, 1635, Benjamin Franklin statue in Boston Latin School is the oldest public school in America. They offer free education to the rich and poor. White girls did private schools at home. Until the completion of the schoolhouse in 1645, classes were held in the home of the first handmaster, Philemon Formont. A patchwork and a statue of Benjamin Franklin still stands in the location of the original schoolhouse. This is the Old State House. The Old State House was constructed in 1713 and is most remembered today because of the Boston Massacre, which was a deadly conflict between the colonists and the British soldiers, considered to be the first bloodshed of American battle. On July 18th of 1776, Bostonians were walked together under the Old State House balcony to hear for the first time the Declaration of Independence. Old South Meeting House. This is the Old South Meeting House, and the Old South became a big spot for public protest meetings against British actions in colonial Boston from 1768 to 75. Patriots and loyalists alike met to conflict and inform, to protest the greetings of sailors into the King's Navy and to celebrate the bloody Boston Massacre of 1770. Yet it was a series of meeting significant buildings. On that day, over 5,000 men crowded into the meeting house to hotly debate the at-issue tea tax. When the final attempt at compromise failed, Samuel Adams gave the signal that started the Boston Tea Party. The Sons of Liberty led the way to Griffin's Wharf, where they dumped 342 chests of tea into the frigid harbor.
Hold on, where'd that guy go?
Alright, this is the site of the Boston Massacre. The site of Boston Massacre is most known for a circle of granite pavers on March 5th of 1770. An unruly group of colonists taunted British soldiers by throwing snowballs and rocks, firing upon the crowd. The British killed 5 colonists, including Crispus Attucks. This led to a campaign by speechwriters to awaken the anger of citizens. 8 British soldiers were arrested and charged with murder. Following the Boston Massacre, the soldiers' trial became highly aware event, with both sides offering convincing arguments that reflected larger conflicts between colonists and the British administration. This is the Faneuil Hall. The Faneuil Hall was built in 1742. It was built by Peter Faneuil, who was one of the Boston's wealthiest merchants. Faneuil Hall hosted by the first town meeting. The hall became a home to an intricate collection of events that made our nation's history. Spot spies. Anyone who did not know the answer to the question, what is on the top of Faneuil Hall in those days, brought suspicion. Hi, my name's Hunter, and this is the Paul Revere house. He had a family with 17 kids living in this tiny home. If you'd like to come take a look. As you can tell.
Oh, I see.
I don't think he's home.
There are people in there. Oh my gosh.
I don't think he's in there.
There are people in there.
Okay. So the Paul Revere house was built around 1680. The Paul Revere house was owned by the legend himself from 1770 to the 1800s. It's the oldest building in downtown Boston and also the only actual Freedom Trail historic site that is a house. On the afternoon of April 18, 1775, Boston artisan patriot Paul Revere rode his horse from his house to the North Square to warn Samuel Adams and John Hancock of their arrest by a detachment of British soldiers. My name's Hunter. We're at the Old North Church, constructed in 1723. The Old North Church is best known for its famous midnight ride of Paul Revere. The important event lit up the American Revolution. The Christ Church in the city of Boston, known to all the Old North Church, Boston's oldest surviving church building and most visited historical site, also by its looks. Hi, my name's Hunter. We're at the Copp's Hill Burying Ground. As you can see, many old-looking tombs. They're made of not the finest, not the best-looking stones, but it's what they had back then. But yes, so the Copp's Hill Burying Ground was named after a shoemaker. Copp's Hill Burying Ground is the final resting place and burying ground of merchants, artisans, and craftspeople who lived in the North End. Copp's Hill also is the final resting place for early Bostonians of Africans. Many captured slaves and free African Americans are buried on this hill, including Black educator, community leader, and Masonic Grandmaster Prince Hall. Hello, my name's Hunter, and we're at the Bunker Hill Monument. As you can see, it is under construction right now, so we're not able to get a close-up view. The Bunker Hill Monument took 15 years. Took 15 years from 1827 to 1842, but with lengthy stoppages. It was part of the Revolutionary War. And it's part of the Freedom Trail. Beautiful sighting.
Welcome to the Bunker Hill Mall.
Yeah. This is the U.S. Constitution, the last part of the Freedom Trail. Released in Boston in 1797, the U.S. Constitution is the oldest warship still afloat and earned her nickname Ironside because it took a cannonball to the side. During the War of 1812, when she fought the British frigate HMS, another warship, the U.S. Constitution is one of the first frigate built in the U.S. Navy. The Constitution's overall length is 204 feet.